Good evening and welcome to the fastest half hour in the cryptid world, This Week in Bigfoot, the news show that scours the internet and the Bigfoot community each and every week so you don't have to. Then we take it and wrap it up in a nice, neat 30-minute package. If it has to do with Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and the Wildman, we've got it all covered. And let me tell you, it looks like it was another busy week around the world of Bigfoot, that's for sure. Legend Meets Science 2 is fully funded, and we've got the boss, Doug HAJIECK, in studio to let us know what's next for the ambitious project. Monkeys and wolves, is there a connection? Mike Luci's done his homework and says yes there is. Snowwalker gives us his 2-minute take on Bigfoot trail cam issues, and the tall one's Brent Dill squares off against rock-throwing hoaxers. All this and more, so you better buckle up, so we got a lot to do, so let's stop wasting time and get at it.
What will you repeat? With someone or something crawling around out here. Get somebody out there. What's going on now, sir? That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know. He's all black and big. He is big.
Our lead story this week once again takes a look at Sasquatch Legend Meets Science 2. A few weeks ago, we featured a segment on Doug HAJIECK and the launching of the official Kickstarter campaign and video for Sasquatch Legend Meets Science 2. I'm happy to report that during the production of last week's show, while I was in the final edit process, otherwise I would have put it in the show, it came in just a little bit too late, I received a text from Doug letting me know that thanks to our show and others like it, the Kickstarter for the project was a huge success, exceeding the goal of $80,000. I recently caught up with the award-winning director to get his thoughts on the success of the campaign and to let us know what's next now that he's been able to raise the funds. So listen, the clock was ticking. First of all, congratulations on getting the funding for the Kickstarter.
Thank you.
That's a huge thing. And now, just a couple questions. The clock ticks on Kickstarter, right? You got 60 days.
Yeah. We had 30. Because it was weird because last week when I was putting the show together, I looked and you were 40% of the way there, 50%. I don't know if there's a delay, obviously, in the funding with the posting. So I was in the middle of doing an update for the show to say where you were financially, to say, we got to dig a little deeper and keep going. And then next thing you know, I get a text from you saying, hey, we got it. Yeah. Yeah, no, it just, people finally came through. And that's kind of normal towards the end because people don't procrastinate at that point. They go, it's going to run out.
I think that's the thing with Kickstarter too, is the shorter the Kickstarter is, I think the more successful it is.
That's what we took a chance on, and we didn't know. We've never done one. I've never been involved. It's kind of scary because you hate to end up in the Kickstarter graveyard.
I know, right? The clock's ticking, and it's like it's gut wrenching because it's like, well, we're only 40% there. What do we do now?
Yeah, exactly. So we were still, we never lost confidence. Mm-hmm. We still felt it would go through. So,
well, now that you get the money, right, and you get this, at least I don't know if this is the whole thing, but you got the money to get going. Where do you go from here?
Well, we're going to break the country into regions. We have pretty much most of the interviews we need to do, the science tests, the labs we're going to go to, pretty well mapped out. And so what we're going to do is break the country into regions and take literally our big production truck and just drive there because we have so much equipment that flying would just be, would be impossible. So we'll drive there, we'll do a big loop and we'll try to hit as many people as we can. And then we'll, head back and refuel basically back to Minneapolis, take a few days off, catch our breath, kiss our kids and back out on the road again.
Now, do you have a window that you think you can shoot this in?
Yeah, I think we can get it done by, when the weather changes, starts getting crappy.
Before snow flies?
Yep. Yeah, and then if we have to do any wrap-ups, like of conclusions on lab tests, then we can fly because we'll know exactly what we need. It's pretty much just a camera and a tripod to film the results, of a lab test or a DNA test.
Well, I have just one more question to ask you. Is you're going to keep us posted? I'd love to get some updates for our viewers as you move along. That would be great.
Yeah, we're going to be our first shoot is, I believe, June 3rd and 4th. It's going to be in Minnesota. We're flying in all of these experts to us, sound experts, infrasound experts, people that actually can record infrasound. And we're going to be in all sorts of scientific experiments, but we're bringing everything to Minnesota, and then we're just going to go an hour north and do all this because it's all just experiments.
Well, it looks like all of our hard work paid off, folks. We set out to help fund one of the most important projects in the quest for truth regarding Bigfoot that's come along in a very, very long time. And to all of you that donated, and I know there's a lot of viewers that did, thank you. If you still would like to pre-order the film and you would still like to get your name in the credits, you can do that. I will put the link in the description, and you can still donate to the film and get the film pre-ordered and get your name in the credits, which is a pretty cool thing. Now, we heard Doug say that production's starting in June. And I talked to him after the recording, and I asked him, and he agreed to give This Week in Bigfoot daily updates on the film's progress. So we will be in the know on everything that's going on with this Legend Meets Science 2, and we will, of course, pass it on to you. We can't wait for this, and we wish Doug the best of luck with the project.
You're probably familiar with the popular belief that Squatches could work with coyotes and wolves, with some researchers thinking they might reap cross benefits from each other, like hunting, food sources, and cover. Proponents of this belief point to the abundance of symbiosis found in nature, along with humans' domestication of wild dogs. Well, a 2015 study that detailed a notably similar relationship between monkeys and wolves in Ethiopia could give some credence to this belief. Conducted in the Gwasa Plateau of north-central Ethiopia, the long-term study observed a peaceful coexistence between Ethiopian wolves and gelada monkeys. Researchers discovered when the wolves hunted for rodents, their main food source, they had a 67% success rate when they were in or near a group of gelada monkeys, compared to just a 25% success rate when on their own. Researchers believe the monkeys may disturb the surrounding vegetation, flushing the rodents out, and that the monkeys could provide a sort of cover for the wolves when hunting. The wolves seem to recognize this benefit of being around gelada monkeys and vice versa. It also helps the gelada monkeys who compete with these rodents for food sources. While symbiosis between mammals is common, instances between a predator and potential prey are very rare. Some believe this collaborative relationship can potentially shed light on how ancient humans domesticated wild dogs. One theory suggests wolves began moving towards humans to scavenge any large carcasses from their hunts, after which they eventually started assisting their mammalian counterparts. So the figuring here is between mankind's successful domestication of wild dogs and this bizarre relationship between Ethiopian wolves and gelada monkeys. How far off is it to think another primate that's much smarter than a gelada monkey, like a Sasquatch for instance, is capable of setting something similar up with the wild canines in their area? Now, weirder things have happened in nature, and considering the potential benefits we touched on earlier, I suppose it's not that far out of the question.
Today's episode of This Week in Bigfoot is sponsored by Got Knockers Apparel and Clothing. From hoodies and caps to soaps, keychains, and bats, Got Knockers has everything you need to show your love of Bigfoot. For more information and to shop their items, be sure to visit the Got Knockers page on Facebook at facebook.com/Got Knockers. Hey, Got Knockers? Hoaxing, the act of creating or perpetuating a false or misleading story or event, personal gain, amusement, or attention. Hoaxes can range from harmless pranks to malicious deceptions that have serious consequences for individuals or society. The psychology of hoaxing is complex, and the act usually centers around those seeking attention or notoriety. Because of the constant hoaxing within the Bigfoot community, almost nothing posted online today can be taken at face value.
This is as real as you're standing right where you are, sir.
And we here at the show should know this, as we constantly search the internet to bring you what we feel are the top stories of each week. In past episodes, we here at This Week in Bigfoot have merely presented the alleged evidence and claims of sightings we found while researching for the show, and then we left them for you to decide for yourself as to the validity of these claims. After all, we are only a news show. We are not in the business of debunking. On May 7th, Bigfoot investigators Trapper, the cameraman and crew, and Mike from MT Paranormal Life were investigating and filming in an area known as Claim 3 in Northeast Ohio, an alleged Bigfoot hotspot. While checking glow sticks and listening to what they called grunts and growls, a rock about the size of a baseball was allegedly thrown at a tree directly behind the well-known Bigfooter Trapper.
Up here to check and see if somebody's messing with us. And I don't see nothing. So, two explanations. Something through that glow stick.
There are those within the Bigfoot community that police and vet videos exactly like this one. Phil Poling, Steve Coles, and Brent Dill are three solid examples of researchers not afraid to call bullshit when they see signs of foul play. On May 10th, Brent from the Tall Ones, a show favorite here and who I consider a friend and a colleague within the Bigfoot community, felt that something just wasn't right with this evidence and jumped in.
But, you know, if you kind of rewind the video and watch it, you can actually see Trapper bend down to pick up said rock and then walk a little bit, and then you can see Trapper throw said rock. You can see how the camera moves, you know, throwing motion move, and you can hear the jacket move of he's wearing, of the friction there. So you can hear him actually throwing the rock, and then boom, hits the tree, falls down, and there you go, man. That's Bigfoot evidence. Randy Brisson Jr. is what I'm calling him.
Content creators like Brent are vital to the survival of the online community as each year becomes more and more congested with attention-seeking frauds and hoaxers, especially with the advent of AI. That being said, there are times when those confronted with the claims of hoaxing fight back, and fight back hard. Mike from MT Paranormal Life, who was there that night, had this to say in a video about Brent's attempt to debunk the Bigfoot at the Swamp video as he rallied to defend his friend Trapper from these serious hoaxing allegations.
I'm going to be attacking this video unfiltered, and I'm going to offend some people. And if I offend you, good, because you fucking deserve it. Pay very close attention to the light beam from his flashlight as it moves all the way up to the point when they say he throws the rock and Trapper flinches. This is a very important key moment. Keep a very close eye on that flashlight beam from his right hand, which you'll be able to see clearly. That flinch is where the people that believe it's a hoax say that he threw the rock. I asked Trapper about the flinch. He said something landed on his neck and it made him jump. But keep an eye on Trapper's right hand with the flashlight. And as you can see, the flashlight is moving back and forth independently from the camera, which shows it's still in his right hand. If you notice, the flashlight beam from his right hand is still facing forward and is moving slightly left when he flinches. It's not flinging backwards as if he threw something. The reason why I say backwards is the tree that gets hit by the rock is now 180 degrees directly behind Trapper at the point of the flinch. So if Trapper threw the rock, he would have had to have thrown it directly behind him, and his flashlight would have definitely moved backwards. So if you believe that scenario, Trapper threw the rock and it was a hoax, then you're a fucking idiot. And if you're offended by that, it's because you're a fucking idiot.
Now, while most Bigfoot hoaxes are harmless and entertaining, they can also have serious consequences for an individual's reputation and should be approached with caution and critical thinking. I'll put the link to all the videos in the description so you guys can take a look and make up your own mind as to what's going on. Be sure to let us know in the comments section what your verdict is. Coming up, Mike Luci takes a look at another alleged Bigfoot sighting. Mike?
This footage was posted on the Bigfoot subreddit by Redditor SameChemistry8965. He claims it was taken in the Muir Woods National Reserve, located in Northern California. He was there bike riding with his wife and allegedly heard a loud vocal resembling a fox scream but sounded much deeper. Sam Chemistry said he started recording with hopes of catching the vocals if they happened a second time. He allegedly spotted the figure while panning his surroundings and believed it stood 8 to 9 feet tall. Despite not seeing it, Sam Chemistry claims he heard the figure retreat from behind the tree into the woods. The video does cut off, which is always suspicious, but Sam Chemistry claims he stopped recording for 2 reasons. He was extremely shaken by the encounter, and he wanted to meet back up with his wife. Upon searching around the area where the alleged figure stood, Sam Chemistry claimed they smelled a horrible odor, which was apparently enough to make his wife vomit. The footage got a mixed reception and some strong reactions from both believers and skeptics. While many commenters did believe the footage to be genuine, some of its critics held nothing back, to the point where they berated and personally attacked Sam Chemistry, some calling him an outright liar and hoaxer. It's worth noting there were even some commenters who acknowledged that those types of hostile reactions are probably why so many others don't come forward with their experiences. Now, just to clarify, this footage would be very easy to hoax. We can't rule out anything you saw or heard in it being made by another person. And despite multiple people claiming the Muir Woods has a history of sightings, I could only find one other report in the area. And it's also worth noting that some commenters on the thread say the Muir Woods is heavily trafficked, plus it's also located only 8 miles north of San Francisco. Although this was the Redditor's only Bigfoot-related post, it's worth noting his account was recently created on April 23rd, so that's fairly recent. Sam Chemistry says he plans on returning to do a reenactment at the scene so he can get a good size comparison of the figure. So we'll update you on anything new with this story. Back to you, Brendon.
I can tell by the clock on the wall it's that time again, folks. Part of the show that's fast becoming a fan favorite, and that's where we give screen time to content creator Michael Merchant, aka Snowwalker Prime, to speak his mind and get what's ever bothering him off his chest. The Lord only knows what it is this week. We call it 2 Minutes With.
Echo Station 3PA. Just spotted an aerial walker. Aerial walker. Echo Station 3PA. Just spotted an aerial walker. Aerial walkers on the North Ridge.
Trail camera photos of Sasquatch are always missing the metadata seen at the bottom of all trail cameras, detailing time, location, temperature, weather, moon phase, type of camera, a whole bunch of information down there. There's no reason to remove this information. It validates the photo as being, at least from a trail camera. People usually claim these are Photoshopped. The hoaxers putting forth these fake trail camera images are not sophisticated enough to use Photoshop. If they were using Photoshop, they sure as hell would put the metadata in at the bottom to make the photo look realistic and valid. It's true these images are hoax. They are generated with sophisticated algorithm, artificial intelligence, art programs like DALL-E, Midnight Cafe, Midnight, Starry Night, just to name a couple. An actual trail camera photo of Sasquatch would have the metadata at the bottom. Usually it's the bottom. I suppose it could be at the top. But information detailing the time of day, perhaps his GPS location, temperature, moon phase. If you were photoshopping it, you'd add in that information. If you were bright enough to use Photoshop, all they're doing is typing into a free AI generator, give me a Bigfoot. That's a trail camera photo from my uncle's aunt, great-grandmother's son who cleans the pool for his daughter. That's where the photo came. Montana, from Wyoming, the backwaters of Texas, the heart of Mississippi, given to me by a forest ranger, game warden, biologist, chemical engineer, lineman for the county.
I am a lineman for the county.
fisherman, a hobo. Some chucklehead posts an image of Sasquatch claiming it's a trail camera photo. Ask him where the metadata is. What happened to the metadata? Where's the actual photograph? Why are you giving me this piece of shit cropped version where you cropped out the metadata? Why would you do that? Low-hanging fruit. They're picking low-hanging fruit. Flim, flam, flummox, McDougal.
Tonight's edition of This Week in Bigfoot is sponsored by Broken Branch Designs. From outerwear and clothing to home and garden decor, Broken Branch Designs has everything to do with Sasquatch. For more information, visit brokenbranchdesignsllc.com.
Since Bigfoot height estimations are mostly based on eyewitness testimony, photos, or videos, they are almost impossible to verify. A fairly new Bigfoot blog called Profiling Bigfoot, What If They Are Real, discussed the potential average height of these alleged creatures and outlined a few reasons why getting this information is so difficult. Written by Chad Gatlin, who created the blog to track his progress in writing a book on the subject, he delves into the roles of factors like rounding height estimates, one's emotional state during these alleged encounters, and how distance factors into the equation. Gatlin shows these two graphs that plotted Sasquatch height estimates, and as you can see, both have very steep declines after 8 feet, nothing reminiscent of the bell curve you see in the charts plotting male and female measurements for humans. For some, this statistical anomaly is grounds for dismissing the creature's existence. The blog post says the issue could be due to a lack of data points, and since most eyewitnesses tend to round their height estimates to the nearest foot, Gatlin believes future researchers should try using 6-inch increments to see how it affects distribution. He points to studies showing how people can estimate the heights of other people fairly well, but aren't nearly as accurate with non-human subjects. Height perceptions also tend to change by distance. Gatlin cites a 1989 study demonstrating how an object's perceived size may appear smaller at a distance, causing people to overestimate its stature. With fear being one of the most common emotions described by Bigfoot witnesses, its effects on one's ability to recall details are also considered. Gatlin points to a 1994 study that found people in a state of fear actually tend to be better at recalling details, namely in regards to whatever caused them to trigger that emotion. Overall, Gatlin concludes there needs to be deeper studies on calculating Bigfoot height averages. He also believes geographic factors like regional height distribution may vary. When taking this variable into consideration, Gatlin suggests this type of data should be analyzed both together and separately by region. Make sure to check out Mr. Gatlin's blog, profilingbigfoot.com, which he updates with weekly posts on a variety of Bigfoot-related topics.
Hey, this is Chuck Larson. You're watching the CARC channel on YouTube.
It's time to catch you up to speed on a couple of recent podcasts and live streams. First in the box, Bigfoot Experience. Bigfoot streams a child invades elderly lady's property. Sounds good. Let's listen in.
When right after one of the shots, I heard a loud vocal shriek of some sort. It raised the hair on the back of my neck. I still hate even thinking about that day. It was almost like it was letting me know it didn't like me being there shooting, whether it was a BB gun or not. Being a youngin', though, I thought, probably my imagination, and just kept shooting. I plinked a can pretty loud and heard a loud roar after that. Okay, so now I was scared. I got upright and standing really fast. I looked around everywhere and in all directions, and after a minute my eyes caught the creature in the woods, and I swear, it was just like those movie effects that when there's a dramatic shot, it looks like the camera is moving backward at the same time it's zooming in. I don't know how else to describe it. But it was terrifying because I could see its face, and it was not, I repeat, not like the ones in the movies like The Hendersons. It was menacing, like a monster in a movie. I don't mean like fangs and blood and all that, but just mean. I mean huge and mean as heck. I was like, no, and just took off.
Batting second this week is a channel we've never listed before, Isaiah Photo. I survived the place where Bigfoot lives. In this brief 9-minute video, the host heads to Willow Creek, California for a lesson in Bigfoot 101.
Isaac and I did quite a bit of hiking through the woods in the dark. Definitely one of the strangest experiences of my life. It wasn't long until we made it to the spot that Bigfoot was last seen, which is when I realized that we are completely unprepared to face a violent ape-like creature.
Clearly, I'm not a Bigfoot expert in terms of hunting Bigfoot. This is my first opportunity to do this. I have hunted before, though, in the past. As far as I'm concerned, you're supposed to be quiet. Just so weird to be looking for a big creature like this.
Weird is an understatement. Somehow, everything is way scarier when it's pitch dark out.
Did you hear that? Wait. Did you hear that?
We decided to look for footprints in the area before taking Ron's advice to let Bigfoot find us.
Okay, so we made it to the falls. You can kind of hear them behind us. But we've been sitting here for a minute. And every once in a while, you hear a noise, like some wood. Either be it's like something scratching a tree or something. It doesn't sound that close. Did you hear that? Wait, there was. Did you hear that? It comes and goes a little bit. I can't tell where it's coming from. It's so distinct, though. Wait, it's getting kind of closer, isn't it? Yes. Wait, is it coming? It's coming from over there. Dude, okay, it's getting pretty loud. Bro. Oh my, what is this? I don't. Wait, what is that? Oh my God,
run! That's what you would expect to happen if you've ever watched a History Channel special on Bigfoot.
That guy right there has over 9.5 million subscribers to his channel, so he must be doing something right. In the third spot this week, also new to the show, W.J. Sheehan's Bigfoot Terror in the Woods podcast. Episode 200, Cape Disappointment Doesn't Disappoint. In this episode, Bill heads to the Evergreen State to check out some high strangeness and a Bigfoot encounter. Let's check it out.
I have to tell you, this was a ghost story for the record books. There was maybe 20 minutes of fading daylight left when we entered the woodsy trail. Flanking this trail were moss-covered trees and bushes in patches and sections along the way. We could hear the surf pounding as we made our way through the trail. The wind was barreling through the trees at a rate that made me almost fearful of what was waiting for us at the trail's end. Well, the fear that was waiting for us was not to be at the trail's end at all. My eyes at that time were looking into the trees when I saw the figure of a man wearing a traditional Native American type of clothing, walking through the trees just ahead of us. I couldn't believe my eyes, and I quickly stepped forward, hitting Toby on the shoulder and telling him to look. We stopped dead in our tracks as we watched this Indian, who appeared to be a chieftain of some sort based on his costume, walk up into the trees where he vanished from view. As if what I have told you so far was not crazy enough, what happened next was the topper. Just ahead of us, standing in the middle of the trail upon which we were walking, was a huge Sasquatch with glowing red eyes waving at us in a way that said, "Come this way." I looked at Toby, and he looked at me. And as we turned back, the creature was walking away from us, heading up the trail at a quick pace. As you would imagine, we were none too quick to follow. And at this point, we were more than a little freaked out, so we stood our ground. The Sasquatch had disappeared around a bend just ahead of us, and we gradually pursued as darkness was virtually upon us. I can't even believe these guys did this. When we had made it around the bend, there was no sign of this creature. The woods had opened up into a grassy area with nothing in sight except for the vast ocean. The Sasquatch had to have been 10 feet tall, and its eyes were glowing like two red flashlights. Why it was there and why it was waving at us to come forward is beyond me, but that's what happened.
Our last stop this week is Steve Isdall's latest creation, the Round Table of Knowledge. In this clip entitled New Video Evidence Emailed In, we take a look at, well, the new video evidence emailed in. Here we go.
I observed the glowing orange orb in the attached video back in 2018 while standing outside my apartment next to my vehicle. The location is just outside Paducah, Kentucky, USA. It was very slow moving. It was also gliding at a very low altitude just above the tree line, which I estimate to be 75 to 100 feet up. The video clearly shows all of this. I just happened to notice it hovering above me, and almost immediately I began filming. I'm glad that I had the presence of mind to pull my phone out and hit record so that I can share the irrefutable evidence of its existence. The sight itself was strange to be sure, but I cannot recall any distinct feelings or emotions this orb imputed to me. The only thing I remember is thinking that I better film it or no one will believe me. I don't know what it was or what it means, but I have always believed that this material world is like an output.
With summer right around the corner, spring Bigfoot conferences are starting to wind down. That being said, there's still only one guy we can all turn to keep us up to speed on the who's, the what's, and the where's, and that's Chuck Larson with summer's first Bigfoot conference in this week's Spotlight.
The 2023 Virginia Bigfoot Con returns to Wares Cave Community Center, Wares Cave, Virginia, Saturday, June 17th. Doors open at 9 a.m. and the event runs until 6, with speakers scheduled all day long. This year's event will be hosted by the Hometown Haunts crew, with a special guest appearance by Animal Planet's Turtleman. Vendors, food trucks, Bigfoot arts and crafts, and more will be on hand. Access to vendor booths is free, and tickets for the speakers are only $18. For more information, visit the event's Facebook page, BCBRO Virginia Bigfoot Con. To buy tickets in advance, go to eventbrite.com. And that's this week's conference Spotlight. Brendon, take us out.
All right, folks, looks like it's it. Time sure does fly when you're having fun, but don't fret, we'll be back next week. I'd like to thank you for watching and remind you to like and share everything we do here at the Catskill Appalachian Research Collective. And if you have any questions or comments, or maybe a story for the show, you can always drop us a line at ThisWeekinBigfoot@gmail.com. For Mike Luci and Chuck Larson, I'm Brendon Brown, reminding you that when it comes to getting your Bigfoot news, be informed, not biased. Take care.